My humble beginnings date back many years. In the beginning, I had no money. When I first got started, I was pretty naive. And as I got older, I became interested in studying the topic of success. And one basic thought occurred to me in my late teens that I consider to be the single most consequential insight of my life. And it was as simple as this. If you take the time to learn from the actions of those who have already achieved your goals, you will also achieve yours. You can prevent failure altogether by learning from the mistakes of the successful and not repeating them. Specifically, I want to share with you tonight some of the fundamentals that I've learned after conducting almost 2 decades of study. I've read a lot about famous people and what they did to get where they are. Autobiographies and biographies are among the genres I've read. I've been investigating their defining features and underlying theories. After extensive research in numerous fields, including philosophy, economics, religion, psychology, and metaphysics, I have identified 10 essential traits. There could be more or less of it now, depending on the circumstances. But I've seen that people that are successful share each of these 10 traits. Nothing in the universe can stop you from achieving remarkable success if you possess these 10 traits. Let's discuss these guidelines, then. Having a clear head is one of the first rules to follow. It starts with clear thinking and encompasses many other qualities. In the sake of precision, the more I learn about the lives of the top 5% of successful men and women, the more I realize that each and every one of them has a crystal clear idea of where they are heading and what they hope to achieve. And when I look at people who have failed in life or who appear to be miserable and lost, I nearly always find that they have a very limited sense of direction, if any at all. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, as the old adage goes. If you don't know what you want out of life, you'll spend the rest of your days working for other people who do. The evidence points in that direction. But just 5% of the population actually works toward anything. Knowing where you want to go, who you want to be, what you want to have, and what you want to accomplish is a good place to start in gaining clarity. Another important aspect of clarity is making quick and firm decisions. There is no correlation between success and indecisiveness. On the other hand, I have never known a failure who was able to make up his or her mind quickly and confidently. We are aware that our hesitance to make a choice stems from a natural human response. The desire to avoid error at all costs. Even if we are exceptionally smart, bright, and motivated, our inability to make up our minds is one of the worst things that may happen to us. Yet if we never learn to make the tough choices that matter, we will always be at the mercy of those who can. Now, the intriguing thing about decisions is that roughly 80% of them, 80% of decisions, should be made on the spot. And if you decide on matters as they arise, you'll learn to be decisive. If you have a clear goal in mind, you'll have an easier time making decisions that will help you get there. Yet, the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the frequency with which they do so. The fact is, successful people have a knack for making sound choices. The third part of being clear about what you want out of life is to know who you want to be. It's all about having a dream. The song goes, if you want to make your dreams a reality, you need a dream. Every single one of history's major game changers was an idealist at heart. They have always been dreamers and visionaries. The Book of Solomon's proclamation that, where there is no vision, the people perish, has a deeper, more metaphysical meaning. When people lack vision, they lose the excitement and thrill of life, and therefore they inevitably perish. If the Western method of foretelling the future is to create it, then to have a vision is to be a futurist. Even when you have a dream up in the clouds, the sky can provide a solid base for it. And when you look at the lives of men and women who have risen from obscurity and poverty to prominence and renown, you will inevitably find an example of someone who dreamed of and pursued a future that was vastly different from their current reality. We've all had the sensation of daydreaming about our future selves, complete with a garage full of shiny new cars, when we were young. Moreover, as we got older, we fantasized about starting our own children and settling down in our own houses. The problem is that we set our sights so low that when we do reach them, they fail to excite or motivate us. To that end, shoot for the stars. Competence, being the second letter of the 10, is a good indicator of success. Because I've been studying success for so long, this realization stunned me a few years ago. There's also, in search of excellence, the pursuit of excellence, regaining excellence, losing excellence, and countless others like them. When I finally sat down to analyze the concept of excellence, I realized something I'd previously overlooked. Every single person I've researched who has had any level of success in life did so after resolving to succeed at whatever it was they chose to focus on. And I started to go around and compare things and start talking to others. Now I chat to thousands of individuals every month. To my surprise, I have never met a successful individual who was mediocre at best in their chosen field. In other words, that's skill. Dedication to mastery in one specialty is a necessary but not sufficient condition for achievement. That only the top 5 or 10% are exceptional, and that the others have no chance in today's competitive environment unless they win the lottery. You have to make a personal commitment to doing your best. You need to make a firm decision to improve your performance. One of the best parts is that achieving excellence is a process. This is not a place you can travel to. There's self-satisfaction and complacency, two of the biggest deterrents to success, are never in sight. Once you make a decision to improve yourself, though, doors of opportunity will begin to open for you. Simply said, excellence entails giving 100% effort every time and looking for ways to improve. Opportunities to get tremendous rewards are plentiful. Because when you improve, doors fly open before you like a Red Sea. When you excel, others notice you and want to snag you, rewarding you with greater authority and more responsibility. 4. You see, when we succeed at something, it boosts our confidence and our sense of accomplishment. We came out on top and it feels great. Yet if we only muddle through, we won't gain anything. That's why even the most committed to excellence businesses can't boast significant advantages of several 100%. They're better than average by 1% to 2% across a wide range of metrics. Really, that's the crux of the matter. You can be unique without being radically different from everyone else. You just need to be somewhat different in the areas that really matter. And you can do that by consciously deciding to be so and then actively working to that end. You have infinite potential and can achieve any goal you set for yourself. Working harder will lead to better results. In the United States, the typical workday for a self-made millionaire takes between 12 and 13 hours. Puts in a typical week of 60 to 65 hours of work. You just need to work 8 hours a day in our culture, and that's if you're lucky. If it takes more than 8 hours, consider it a win. And you're in deep trouble if you're just putting in 8 hours a day. You're only putting in a full day's work in a week. 8 hours a day only earns you survival in this society, and if someone else is working 9, they have an edge over you. Unless, of course, you have a rich uncle or someone else is going to take care of you. Currently, someone else is putting in 10 hours. Every hour past 8 that you put in is an investment in your future. An investment in your achievement, and gives them a greater advantage. And if you put in the time beyond the standard 8 hours, whether it's studying, reading, or working, you'll reap the benefits. It's like planting a crop. You can't expect a harvest without first sowing the seeds. The next seed represents focus, and I believe that focus and concentration are the two keys to success in life. While there is never enough time to do everything, there is always enough time to do the vital things. What do you think they're up to? They create a long list of things they need to do, but because they begin with the least important tasks first, they end up spending the day doing nothing productive. Successful. Focusing on anything but the most important tasks is a waste of time. Therefore, top performers always keep that in mind. Time management is about much more than just getting things done on time. We all share the same 24 hours in a day, and the capacity to discipline yourself, utilize willpower, and persevere to focus on one thing at a time is a quality of all success. Time management is life management, and you can do everything you want with your life if you manage your time properly. Without the ability to focus intently on a single task at hand and cultivate a sense of urgency, great things will never be completed. Less than 2% of people have what's called a feeling of urgency, and even fewer of those people really act quickly. According to Tom Peters' fantastic book, In Pursuit of Excellence, just 2% of people have a bias for action. He claims that all successful businesses have an innate tendency to take swift, decisive action. When you phone a business that doesn't make the excellence cut and voice a complaint or concern, you might not hear back from them until 3 or 4 weeks later. The best organizations, on the other hand, have a response time of 2 minutes or less when a customer calls in with a problem or complaint. In sales, in particular, if someone calls you and has a question, get back to them now. If someone calls you and has a problem, get back to them now. If someone needs something, move on it quickly. If you get the reputation as the person who does things quickly, you will have a bright future. Quickly get things done if you have to skip breaks like coffee or meals. You can make a lot of money off of a well-deserved reputation for rapidity. The following C is common sense. Common sense is something that can be developed via training, just as is the habit of pausing to consider the consequences of one's actions. Irrational behavior is the root of all failure. Taking the time to think something thoroughly before acting is where common sense and success meet. It's important to trust your gut. If you've learned anything from your past mistakes, it's that your intuition can be a reliable resource. It's a common trait among top achievers to take a step back whenever they encounter a challenge or problem. Analyze it thoroughly, and draw as many lessons as they can. When faced with adversity, they ask themselves, what can I take away as a general principle? And believe me, if you look for the lesson in the Bible, it says seek and ye shall find. It doesn't say seek and. Occasionally you might find something it says seek and ye shall find if you look for the valuable lesson or the seed of an equal or greater advantage. You will find it, because everything that has happened to you has led you to this point. The fifth C is being creative. To do this, you must recognize your inherent genius and the reality that all highly successful people are also highly creative. It's in their nature to have varying reactions to the world around them. They are inquisitive, open to new ideas, and curious. These traits are indicative of creative thinkers. In my experience, those with the highest levels of education and professional expertise are also the ones who have the most frequently asked me questions. Like curious children, they never stop asking questions. They are adaptable and open to new ideas, and when they learn something new, they can easily drop what they're doing and focus on it. If the new data conflicts with it, try a different approach. Most individuals are like that, actually. The vast majority of people do not alter their behavior. As the old adage goes, the more you do what you're doing, the more you'll get of what you've got to remember. However, it's important to keep in mind that in just 5 years, 80% of everything we use and consume, from the cars we drive to the food we eat and the movies we watch to the streets we drive on, will be completely different. That's how fast progress is being made. Having an idea that is only 10% original is all you need to make a fortune, according to the study. I'm going to tell you a secret. If you really want to become a millionaire, or even just a very affluent person, you can do it if you're prepared to put in the effort. But the vast majority of millionaires got there by providing a service or product that people regularly purchased but could do with a little improvement. They managed to do the task at hand marginally more quickly. They do what they do with a touch more style or elegance. They take care of it, wrap it up, and are generally nicer. Popular eateries may provide dishes that are just slightly modified from one another, say, by 5%. But regulars keep coming back because of the service they receive. You have the potential to achieve your wildest dreams. If you constantly expose your brain to fresh information, through magazines, books, questions, and the like, you'll eventually come up with a concept that's at least 10% original. The next step they take demonstrates thoughtfulness. With this in mind, it is important to remember that the quality of your interactions with other humans will have a far greater impact on your happiness, success, achievement, money, and everything else in your life than any other single factor. One of the most significant aspects of communicating well with others is the quantity of your vocabulary. Thus, it's necessary to take classes in communications, effective listening, and public speaking to help you hone these skills. That's advice you've heard before, I'm sure. Your success in life will be greatly influenced by your level of literacy. How many words you can say, how well you can say them, how well you can think on your feet, how well you can write, and how well you can get your message through to others. Consistency means that reliable, regular, predictable labor is always significantly preferable than spurts or flashes of brilliance and genius, since it is impossible to conceive a successful individual who cannot communicate successfully with other people. Throughout the cosmos, there exists a rule that says things add up over time. I'd like to impart a lot of accumulation, which holds that even if you do 100 or 1,000 seemingly insignificant things, they will add up to something significant in the long run. Every major success in life is built upon a foundation of countless smaller successes, most of which go unnoticed. All great achievements started out as failures, and the most successful people in history had their fair share of setbacks before finally succeeding. This is a tale of repeated disappointments. This is a huge win. What a hunk, huh? What a lucky boy you are. Fortunately, he got some good fortune. He certainly knew the right people. Commitment is the second C. The ability or willingness to make a full commitment to a work, a relationship, or a vocation is among the most difficult things for a human to undertake. Yet success may be achieved only through dedication. Whoever it was who said that about Emerson claimed that the key to success is excitement. What I mean is, do you have the capacity to dedicate oneself enthusiastically and completely? Putting up 100% effort toward a goal is the first step toward accomplishing anything. That if you can't give anything your all, it's probably not appropriate for you. And that we're all just looking for the same thing. The executives in the companies analyzed by Alan Cox, who wrote last year's The Achievers, were the ones who accomplished the most in the least amount of time because they had found their place and were completely immersed in their work. Of the 1,500 people studied by Dr. Shelley Blahnik, 83 became self-made millionaires within 20 years. The one thing he discovered they all have in common was doing work they were passionate about. The work was one in which they excelled. As they honed their skills and earned more compensation, they stowed away their earnings. All great leaders share a common characteristic: courage. I've learned over the years that bold and courageous people are not those who lack fear. Rather, they are those who are able and willing to face their concerns head-on. Such people are only brave because they overcame their fears. Some people, for whatever reason, choose to face their concerns head-on. Do the thing you're afraid of doing, Mark Twain once said, and you'll kill your fear for good. Now, both fear and courage tend to be habits in the sense that if you give in to your fear and back away anytime you're unsure or fearful, you'll eventually develop a habit of always retreating. If you make it a habit to face your worries whenever you encounter them, you'll soon discover that most of them vanish once you dare to move on in life and pursue your goals with confidence. Back in the day, I studied karate, taught it, and competed in 3 world tournaments. I trained karate with 6 world champions. And one of the most important things I took away from that was the insistence that you constantly advance in a fight, even if it's just a half an inch at a time. He explained that while you're making forward progress, you have to direct all of your focus in that direction. If you're traveling backwards, even a fraction of an inch at a time, you're always thinking about where you've been rather than where you're going. Instead, make it a habit to push yourself forward whenever you're faced with a choice between playing it safe and taking a risk and going for it. When given the option between taking a risk and going forward, the vast majority of people opt for the latter. However, I believe that General Douglas MacArthur, said that there is no security in life, only opportunity. Life is very perverse in this regard because the more we seek security, the less we have it. And the more we seek opportunity, the more we have security. In my experience, the fear of failure is the greatest single reason for failure in adulthood. The dread of coming up short, the paralysis and inaction we experience come from our fear of making a mistake and losing money, time, or effort. Fortunately, the practice of courage can help overcome the tendency of fearing failure. Develop the quality of being unstoppable. Cultivate the quality of being unstoppable. This is the best advice I can give you, and I'm giving it to you because I've made it my life's habit to develop this quality. I hope I've got it, but I don't know for sure. Tell yourself, no matter how hard life gets, I will never give up. You must make the decision that fatigue and exhaustion are acceptable states of being but will in no way prevent you from achieving your goals. That's fantastic, since it means you'll keep fighting through any difficulties life throws at you. If what he says is true, there is nothing standing in your way. This is an amazing sensation. It's an amazing sensation. A person's sense of worth stems from this. So, the last C is confidence, and confidence is something that grows from experience. You can't buy it. You can't take a medication for self-assurance. Confidence is not something that can be taught in a pep talk. Repeating successful behaviors reinforces the belief that you possess the skills and abilities necessary to achieve your goals. Having doubts about one's own abilities is a major impediment to getting anything done. I think it's safe to say that everyone struggles with self-doubt at some point. But that the key to overcome it is to keep moving forward and trying things you might ordinarily shy away from. Confidence in one's abilities leads to outstanding success. You can't picture a successful person lacking in self-assurance. But the great thing is this, and I learned this from a very great man who passed away recently: if you keep at something until you succeed, whether it's getting a degree or closing a sale or building a successful career, you plug into your subconscious mind a success pattern. That after you've achieved success, you'll be able to use that experience to replicate that achievement in a different area of your career. And if this pattern of success is repeated, you will eventually reach the point where it is physically impossible for you to fail, as you will have developed a self-adjusting mechanism within yourself that will ensure your success. If this video was helpful, please like, subscribe, and set an alarm, and I will repay you with a better video.